Hello, and welcome to this week's Tech Talk Explainer with me, Will Buxton, and him, Albert Fabrega.
Hello, I will.
Just when I think that your explainers can't get any better,
Well,
this is a thing of beauty, my friends.
because the Formula One is beauty. So what I'm trying always to do is just to put whatever we see on the cars, or they build on the car, just to copy it. Make it a little bit smaller, because my luggage is what it is.
How did you get this in your luggage?
In different pieces, and then I bond it here.
Yeah, the guys at the front can't see the glue at the
Some
back.
of them were a little broken during the trip, but it's okay. We got it.
It's beautiful, and of course, this represents probably the most important part of the technical regulation shift
Indeed.
for this season. The all-important floor area is a part of the car that we rarely see on a race weekend. It is a thing of unique beauty for each team, and so vital for the speed out on track.
For the speed on the track, one of the targets of these new regulations was to try to reinforce the sporting battles, the sport on track. So for that, they need to decrease the dirty air that the cars were creating and increase the downforce through the floor to download the downforce that the wings were creating. So that's pretty much a nice piece of engineering that is not new. We can.
Well, this is it. As a simple explainer, it's not so much anymore about pushing the cars onto the ground as it is sucking the cars onto the ground.
Exactly. You remember 16, 70s with the ground floor cars. You remember the skirts.
Mate, I remember the original GP2 car back in 2005 that had ground effect and skirts. Obviously, we don't have skirts anymore, but that concept remains of trying to get the car as close to the ground, trying to seal the edge as much as you can to the track. And obviously, this has created the phenomenon we know with porpoising.
Exactly, and mainly thing is that we are creating a ground effect that is helping that to suck the car to the floor, creating this downforce. You want to go to the front?
Let's have a look.
So the main difference compared to last year we have is that the intake or the front of the car, here we have the front wheel, is much bigger, much higher, so we have a bigger mouth at the front. Then we have let's call it a flat area where the surface and the volume is decreasing. So the air that is coming from the front is speeding up, is accelerating. That creates a low point of pressure, creates downforce. And then we have an expansion area, what is called the diffuser, where there is like a kick line or crack line where the air, it expands, it helps to create that global downforce that is created to the front. And the most important thing here is we're increasing the downforce, but not increasing the drag. And that's very important because it means that it's very efficient piece of aerodynamics.
It's almost like a canyon.
Yep,
so it's very deep at the front, it's incredibly shallow in the middle, and then it gets deeper.
You remember the spoon?
Huh?
You remember the spoon?
Yes.
We were explaining the proposing
course.
at the beginning of the season. So it's a wing profile, upside down. So it's very easy. And what we saw at the beginning, because we were expecting all the teams taking as much air as they can and going to the diffuser, we were surprised at the pre-season test in Barcelona when we saw the first cars. They were like these fins trying to push the car out of the floor. And that's because you remember with the old regulations, we have dashboards, we have turning vanes on the wing to try to, this dirty air that is created by the front front wheel, dirty air, out of the floor. We don't want the dirty air there. We want clean air at the back of the car.
And is that what this little area is for here?
Yeah. And part of it in the center area is going to the diffuser. There is a strong vortex here that is making the air going to the diffuser and creating this suction, this low pressure area under the car that is creating the downforce. But as everything you said on the 70s or 80s when they creating the ground floor effects, as close the floor is to the floor.
So this piece of perspex represents the track?
Yes, that's a track. So as close is to the track, the more downforce we generate. So for the teams it's very important, it's a key point to have the car as close as the floor, as close as the tarmac as possible. So that's a key point that is not easy to manage, as you see, because you said the purposing. So what the FIA said to them, if you regenerate too much purposing, the metric says you are over the purposing, we will make you raise the car. What happens if you raise the car? If you put the car, for example, here, 25 millimeters, well, you don't generate downforce. The downforce you generate is much, much lower because it's even more difficult to generate that skirt that you said with the vortex, with the air. And obviously, you don't have that acceleration of the air as is the floor is close to the track.
And there is, of course, a way that we can see this.
Yes,
and not just explain
in a wind
it.
tunnel. but we don't have a wind tunnel here. But I brought some machine that.
Okay, shall I be in charge of the track and you can be in charge of the airflow?
The airflow, yeah.
So how far would you like the track to be away from?
Zero.
Zero.
So imagine
completely flat.
that the teams can go as close as possible to the track, so touching the track, the tarmac on the central part where the plank is.
I'll hold that in.
And they are as close as possible on this area, so you can seal. You don't need this air to seal the proper center area of the car. And then when the air is coming, you have some. Which color do you like? Do you
Whichever
prefer?
one
I have
you
blue.
want, mate.
I have blue for the air. I have green.
Let's go blue.
Blue, the air. Huh? So now we're gonna blow some air with a little bit of a smoke, like the disco. You know that you like the disco.
Okay.
I know you like the disco. So we go for it and see what the smoke is doing.
Oh wow.
We see that most of the smoke is going outside. So there is the outwash concept that is blowing all this dirty air that is coming from the wheel. But most of them is also
Coming
through the inner part, going to this area where it accelerates. It takes the speed and then goes to the expansion area.
Fascinating.
To the diffuser. If we rise up the car, we put the car higher, let's say 20 or 25
mil,
millimeters, you'll see what will happen. It must be, the effect will be much different. You see,
Just goes everywhere.
everywhere. We have air here, here, here and there, and then we have less air at the back, and it's lower. So we don't want that because we are not generating downforce enough, and then the ground effect of the car is gone. So next year, for the teams, it will be more difficult to generate downforce because the edge of the floor is increased, the minimum ride height for 15 millimeters as well here.
Amazing. Let's do that once more. Show me. So
want
again
more?
with the gap.
With the gap, and then you close it, okay? Yeah.
I'll
and
close
then-
it as you're doing it.
Yeah. And now you open it. Yeah, you see?
That's big gap.
Yeah. You close it to the floor. You see that the smoke and the airflow is going through the diffuser. So it makes a big difference. Yeah. How important is to get the car as close as possible to the floor.
Fascinating stuff, mate. Amazing. Wow. Good luck getting this home.
Yep.
Or are you taking it straight to Japan?
I will need to split it first, and then I'm not sure what I can do
Absolutely
with
incredible, mate. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Professor Fabrega.
this. Yeah. I'll meet you tonight at the disco where I took the machine. Yeah.
I mean, the disco's already here, mate.